Hello everyone, it's Adria Good here, and I'm on here to talk about my online classes. So if you find this video as you're scrolling through YouTube, you can stop in for a minute, and you're welcome to ask any questions about my online classes or even about my YouTube videos. And so I just wanted to be available to answer any questions for you. So I see we have a couple people coming on. And I've been getting some questions about my YouTube videos compared to my online classes. And there is a big difference. So almost all my YouTube videos are me quilting along to music. And there's no instruction, it's just watching me quilt. I do have a couple tutorials on my YouTube channel. One is feather fill, and the other one is a piano key border. So that's what my YouTube channel is just my quilting set to music. But on my online courses, it's all step-by-step instruction, and we do a drawing section for each design, talk about shape, spacing, the design completely. And then we go from drawing to quilting it on the machine. And Sue has a question, will you be doing a large quilt on the sit down? So I'm still in the process of deciding all of those things about my sit down courses. I have not done one yet. I've only had my sit down for about a year, and I haven't done a whole lot of projects. I do have 2 classes available for the sit down machine. One is the Dream Big Panel Quilt Along. And that one, the panel is about 43 inches square. And I do go through the whole process of getting your top and your back ready and how to pin or spray baste. So I go through all those processes in that course. And that's the Dream Big Panel Quilt Along. And I do have another course available for sit-down quilters, and that is the Beginner Feather course. So I don't do any large quilts on either one of those courses, but I'm getting ready to start filming to do my Build Your Portfolio series for the sit down machine. So I'm still in the process. I don't know if I'll be doing a large quilt in that series or not yet, but we'll definitely be going over all of the designs in depth. So great question. I still have a lot to research. I know there's some really great YouTube videos out there on how to handle large quilts on your sit down. I've seen the kind of hammock systems that people have created. And it really depends too on your throat size. So on my sit down classes, I'm using a Bernina Q16. So I've got quite a bit of throat space available to me. But if you're quilting on a domestic, then you have even less space. So some of it depends on what machine you're quilting on. You can do any of the designs from my courses on a sit-down machine. You just may have to do it a little differently. And my Build Your Portfolio series, the way I came up with the designs for those classes is I went back and thought about how I started. And I started about 20 years ago. My mom and I had made lots of quilt tops, and she really wanted to quilt them herself. But again, we had done some quilting on the domestic machines, and the bigger the quilt, the more difficult it was. And she decided to get a long arm. And we had been drawing and drawing and drawing different designs to practice. So once we got the machine all set up, we put some muslin on and batting and backing and just started practicing those designs that we had been drawing. And then not too much later, after we'd done some practice, a lot of charity quilts, a lot of baby quilts, I felt comfortable doing 5 or 6 designs, and I started offering that to customers. And it took about a year for the business really to grow and get busy, and then after that year I was swamped. So through that whole process I just kept adding more and more designs as I got more comfortable. I had a lot of customers that would say, I don't mind if you practice on my quilt. This is for, it wasn't for a big show or anything like that. And I wasn't even offering any custom work at the beginning. So I got more and more quilts in and got a lot more practice, and eventually started offering feathers and borders separate and all kinds of custom work. So things just grew over the years. So I picked the 7 most simple designs that I started with, and that's what's in the Build Your Portfolio Part 1. And we start with Meander. This is a very simple design. It looks great on so many different quilts. And again, we go through a whole drawing section, and we talk about size and spacing and how to blend the rows together and all of that. And then loops is next in that course. And then we move into leaves, and here I have a leaf with a meander, and then I have loops with the leaves. And all of this is freehand designs. None of it's, I don't have a computerized machine. I've always done free motion, and I absolutely love free motion. And next is swirls. And we have daisies along with some loops and leaves. This one is all daisies, so different size daisies. If you don't want to do loops and leaves, you just want to do daisies, you can fill your quilt with all daisies. And this one is a star, and I put it together with the swirls. And this is stars with swirls and loops. So you can take, there's 7 basic designs in the Build Your Portfolio Part 1 course, and then as you can see, you can mix and match those and put them together however you want. So that's just a sample from the Build Your Portfolio Part 1. And within the course, it's over 4 hours of content, and each design has a drawing section, and then with lots of instruction, and then I load just plain, usually muslin or just some kind of plain fabric on the machine, and do at least 2 rows, so you can see how we blend the rows together and eliminate any of those, bubbles and bumps from the back of your quilt. And there's also some extra videos in there with some tips and tricks and different things that can really help you throughout your long arm quilting journey. So are there any other questions that you guys might have about my online classes? And once you purchase a class, you have lifetime access. So you can download the classes to your computer or to a memory stick or whatever you want and have it that way. You can also just watch it on the website. And yeah, you have continuous access to the class. And then I've also set up, if you're on Facebook, I have set up group pages for the classes as well. So once you purchase and you go to the course, you'll see a Facebook group page or a Facebook community page link. And so once you click on that link, you can answer the questions to join the group. And then you'll be in a group with people that have all taken the same course as you. And we share pictures and ask questions. It's just a great way to, have a community of all the students that have taken that class. So any other questions that you guys might have for me? I don't know if you've seen the video of this quilt behind me, but I do have, I think it's about a 40-minute long video of me quilting this quilt. It was a lot of feathers, and it's a king size quilt, and I'm almost done hand sewing the binding. So I'll get there. It's almost ready to put on my bed. So I'm excited about that. Another one of my courses is the Simple Borders class. That one is split up into 2 parts, and there are 28 designs altogether. So it's kind of the first half of the designs are on part A, and the rest of it is on part B with a quilt along at the end. So with that course, you get cutting instructions to make a strip quilt, and I can grab that for you in just a second and show you. But that's also a quilt along. So we go over these border designs in depth within the course, and each design I show going around 4 corners. So we do a rectangle size sample on the long arm, and I show how when you have to roll your quilt and connect your border, on the sides, I show connecting options and turning the corners and all of that for each of the 28 designs. So that is a really great class if you are starting to get more into custom work where you're doing separate borders from the body of your quilt. So give me just a second. I'm going to grab my quilt from that class and show you that one. And of course, you could do any color scheme that you want. I just went through my stash, and I have a lot of pink and a lot of black. And so I did this pink and black and some gray fabrics. And again, all the cutting width instructions are in the course. And I'll try to show you some of these as we go. So the link to my site, I can put it in the description after this live. And if you don't happen to see it there, on almost all my YouTube videos, if you go in the description, you'll see the link to my site. So the platform I use is Teachable, but you do need to use that link to get in where you want to be on my site. So definitely look for the link. So here are some of those designs. Again, there's 28 designs in this border class. Get these, it's a little hard to hold up right here. There's lots of flowers. There's these swirls, a little snowflake in there, the leaves. We've got hearts and this double curl. And again, all of these designs are taught in depth, step by step in the course. So I just want to make sure you knew that when you purchase the class, it's not just me quilting. It's definitely step-by-step instruction of me talking you through, sorry, that's my dryer buzzer, of talking you through the steps of creating these designs. I guess we'll just keep going here. You can see the daisies, a bubble curl, and a big wave. This is more of a skinny curl, and then a ribbon candy on that little heart fabric. Got more flowers and leaves. These loop-de-loos, big swirls, and just a kind of vertical line up and down. We've got this really tiny circles that look kind of like lace, really cute on a little girl's baby quilt. Here we've got that double curl with a leaf. It really just changes the whole look if you add the leaf in. I love that one. I've used it on so many things. And then at the end here, if you can see, this one is a flower garden design. So we take a lot of those designs that we learned and we're putting them all into this wide border. And it's called a flower garden. So you can just really have fun and be creative with this flower garden border. So there's an example of the Simple Borders class. And that one, it is in 2 parts, but if you buy both A and B together in the bundle package, you do get 15% off of that bundle. So that's the only one I have on sale right now, just because it is a part A and B, and most likely you want to purchase both parts of the class. And so if you purchase both at the same time, you'll see a bundle deal for that, where A and B will be together, and you do get 15% off of that bundle. So we have the Build Your Portfolio series, which is where I do suggest you start if you're more of a beginner. Then we have the Simple Borders class, and then I have some Echo classes, 2 different Echo classes, which are a really nice change from a lot of like the string designs in the Build Your Portfolio series. And the Echo class, I have another sample that I can show you from that one. And I believe there are 8 designs in the Echo class part 1. So let me grab that and I'll show you some samples from that class. Okay, I'm still here. Sorry, just grabbing these samples to show you. And these are actually from the class. This is what I do in the classes. And let me get the first one here. And you can always use your samples for charity quilts, or a lot of people make like dog bed liners and stuff out of their sample pieces. This is the first one in the Echo class part 1, and this is an echoed flower. And again, we fill the entire space. Kind of show you about how long that is. It's probably about just over a yard wide. And then I'll show you the next row here. So it keeps going. And then the next design is the peacock design. And that's what this is. Just a really fun change from doing, you know, meander or loops or leaves and things that are kind of like string quilting. You can do these on a quilt and they don't take real long if you keep the design nice and big like these ones are. And so it's not super time consuming. I do show, let me get this up here. So this peacock design, on this side, I show really huge peacocks. Now these are really big. And again, it's free motion, so you can decide what size that you want to do it in. But then I also show the teeny tiny version, which yes, this is going to take a lot more time. If you are doing a large quilt, this is going to take a very long time. So if you're working for customers, it's a good, it's good to have samples like this, because you can give them different price ranges. If you're doing a super large peacock like this, it's going to cost a lot less than if you're doing a very dense amount of quilting on your quilt. So that's the peacock design. And then this one is the paisley. So it's a lot like peacock, but we're adding those little bumps to make it a little bit more fancy. And then I show, oh, there's like batting fuzz everywhere. 2 different types of echoed swirls. This one is a longer swirl. Back up a little bit. Has like longer tails on it. And then these are more round. So you can see how these ones are more elongated, and then these ones are more circular. So not only do you get, you know, and I have another part of, another sample of the Echo course part 1 that I'll hold up too. But even though it says there's 8 designs, I also show you different ways of doing them. So you kind of get some bonus videos in there as well. So that's just half of the Echo Quilting Part 1 course. And I'll grab the other one here. And please, if you have any questions, just go ahead and comment, and I'll try to answer those the best I can. So I'm still showing you samples from the Echo course Part 1. And this is called the Feather Medley. And you may have seen this on one of my YouTube videos. But again, in the course, I go in depth showing you step by step and giving instruction on how to do this on your quilt, how to blend the rows. We talk about spacing. So that is the Feather Medley. And you can see I stick some swirls in there. I've got leaves in there. I've got these flowers. And then these simple feathers that have no backtracking on them. This is a nice, fun, quick design to do. And next we have hearts. And again, I showed 2 different of the echoed hearts. So this is the one. And this one has more echoing. So this has more like 3 to 4 echoes. And this one only has 1 or 2 echoes on it. And just making those little changes really can change up the design quite a bit. The next one is called Medallion. And there you go. You can see there are these big swirls. So we've got these big swirls, and then we fill in with either loops or pebbles in that little outer section of the swirl. It's a really neat design. And another thing I talk about in the course too is threads. So as you can tell, I've got to get the light just right for you to see the design on here. But then I also show it in green thread, and wow, it really stands out. So we talk a lot about why you would maybe want your thread to not show up as much, or other times when you really might want the quilting to be the star of the show and you want to use a darker thread. And then the last design in the Echo class part 1 is wood grain. And here is the wood grain design. Great on masculine quilts. This is another quick, easy design. And then I do show a little section here where you can do it on a border. So I hope that gives you more of an idea what my classes are like. So for each of these designs that I've shown, we start off working on paper and drawing and ways to practice and way to get your muscle memory built up. And we do that for each design. So the first one on here was the echoed flower. So we start out on paper and talk about spacing and fitting the shapes in where you want them. We talk about blending the rows. And then once we do all of that instruction, I have fabric on the long arm and we do quilt 2 rows. So we're working on, you know, connecting those rows without the bubbles and just talking more about your size, the shape, and filling in all the space without leaving any holes anywhere. So I hope this gives you a better idea of what my classes are like. And I would say all my classes are over 4 hours of content, and some are even longer than that. So I will put a link in the description here. And if you don't see it there, you can always find me on my YouTube channel. We'll have the link. And on most of my videos, I have the link in the description. That will take you to my site on Teachable. That's the platform that I use for the classes. And when you go to my homepage, you will see all of the courses there in little boxes. Once you click on the box of the class you're interested in, it takes you to a whole nother sales page. And that page tells you more in depth about the class, and you can even see the entire curriculum. So you can see the titles of all the different videos that are in the course. So I hope that all helps, and you can always email me at quiltcoachchick@gmail.com. I'm happy to answer questions there. If you are on Facebook, then you can always find me on my Facebook page. And I did start a separate page on Facebook for my sit-down quilting. So you can also type in Adria Good sit-down quilting and you can find me on there. I really hope this has answered some questions. I am going to try to do some more lives so that you have the opportunity to ask questions live. Thank you guys who have joined in. Sue and Deb have made some comments and had some questions. And Sue's looking forward to classes. I'm super excited for you. My goal is to help you become comfortable with your free motion quilting and to help kind of take those fears away, because I understand it can be very intimidating. And there's a lot of testimonials on my Facebook page from students who have said they've gone from being afraid to just having that freedom to sit down and quilt feathers and whatever else, the classes that they have taken. So lots of great feedback from students. And hopefully you'll have a chance to go to my site and look through all the classes that are available. So we've talked about the Build Your Portfolio series, which is a great place to start. And then the Simple Borders class, the Echo classes. Then there's also beginner feathers, intermediate feathers, and feathers and shapes. So if you're really looking to do feathers, those 3 classes would be wonderful. A great place to learn feathers. In the beginner feather class, something that was really neat that I don't really even know how it happened exactly, but I ended up having some of my students send me their before pictures. So they would draw a feather before ever watching the class, and then they would watch the class and do it again. And to see the difference before and after taking the class is tremendous. And so we have those examples, and then also their feathers that they drew before taking the class. There's a troubleshooting section. So I kind of pick apart their feathers and show little tweaks and tips. They've got the basic idea, but just some tips on little things to fix that really just make their feathers extraordinary. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this live, or maybe you're watching a replay later. Just please send an email if you have questions, or find me on Facebook. You can always message me through Facebook Messenger. And I'm also on Instagram as well, and TikTok a little bit. So thank you so much for joining in. I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye for now. And the next time I do a video, I'll hold up some more samples from some of the other classes that I have available. So thanks so much for joining in, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.